Wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. The Honorable Rector of the University of Bengkulu, Dr. Retno Agustina Eka Putri, MSc. The Honorable Head of UPT Bahasa, the University of Bengkulu, Dr. Wisma Yunita, MPD. The Honorable Invited Speaker, Dr. Patricia Patrick from Columbus State University, USA, and the dearest, all participants in the grand opening and talk show Unib English Club 2023. First of all, let's praise and thank to the Almighty God for the grace and blessings so that we can all gather this morning in a good health for the grand opening and talk show of Unib English Club 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Carolina Itohu Tauruk, who will be the master of ceremony for the opening of the event this morning. Before going to the agenda, please allow me to deliver our rundown for today. First, opening. Second, singing national anthem Indonesia Raya. Third, reciting Holy Quran. Fourth, welcoming speech from the head of UPT Bahasa, the University of Bengkulu. Fifth, welcoming speech from the rector of the University of Bengkulu, also opening the event. Sixth, praying. Seven, closing. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin our very first agenda, together, let's say Basmala. The next agenda is singing the national anthem Indonesia Raya, which will be led by Hana. To Hana, the stage is yours. Attendees are asked to stand up, please. Attendees, please have a seat. The next agenda, reciting Holy Quran to Miss Fazlia. The floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Innamal mu'minuna ikhwatun faslihu baina akhwatikum ربكم واتقوا الله لعلكم ترحمون صدق الله العظيم. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. The believers are but a single brotherhood, so make peace and reconciliation between your brothers, and fear Allah that you may receive mercy. Allah Almighty speaks the truth. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the welcoming speech. The first welcoming speech is from the head of UPT Bahasa, the University of Bengkulu, to Dr. Wisma Yunita, MPD. The stage is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning for everyone in this beautiful room we have today. The Honorable Ibu Rector, and also as the speakers here today, and also Dr. Patricia. Thank you for coming to this University English Club opening, and also the talk show that we will have to enhance the motivation to learn English at the University of Bengkulu. Okay. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to the grand opening and the talk show with the urgency of English for Unib internationalization held by UPT Bahasa, the University of Bengkulu. And of course, we have here by my side Ibu Rector and also Dr. Patricia from Columbus State University, America. They are all, the two of them are very busy, but you can make it today. That is honorable for us, and thank you so much for that, despite of the busy schedule that you have. And I also wish to thank you to the committee who have organized this. I have the staff at UPT Bahasa, and also the 12 volunteers that I have at UPT Bahasa right now. And actually, this volunteer I have is the second batch. The first batch, what of them now? We can do at UPT Bahasa. And it's also honored to welcome the members of Unib English Club, which has been selected last January and February, and there are like 127 of them, and I hope then all of them attend this event today. And also we have the representative from 6 faculties. When I sent the letters to 8 faculties, and I got the return of the reply like from 6 faculties, and each of them have like 10 students coming to this event, invited, and then that will be supposed to be in this room today with us. Okay. Ibu Rector, allow me to introduce the 12 volunteers that I have at UPT Bahasa, and they are chosen, well selected last January. The first one that I have here, Safira Zahwa Ananta. Maybe you can stand up, Safira. Yeah, Safira Ananta. Agni Satria Perdana. Oh yeah, you may come into the front row. Yeah, be here. Volunteers, please come up. Ke depan. They have very good English, and they also, I think, they will be like future leaders, Come here. The first one, they are on duties, all of them actually, but you can be here today. Like Safira Zaho Ananta, Agni, we have Agni Satria Perdana, Carolina Ito, and we have Messi Hasana, the four of them from Faculty of Economic and Business. Yeah. And we have also Alia Afifah Izwandi. Please proceed to the front. And Iran, yeah. And Rezita Salma Anjani, all of them are on duty actually. And then Yusri Fajri An-Nur from the Faculty of Teacher Training and Education. And the rest, we have Paruki from the Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Sciences. One. Fajria from the Faculty of Agriculture. Nurul Haliza from the Faculty of Social and Political Science. Yeah. And then Raisa Gina from the Faculty of Engineering. So this volunteer has passed the selection that held by UPT Bahasa. As many of them are registered, and this is Ibu Rector. You can see that all of them have good English. They have good English. I can work with them in any event that we can do. You can also later on be the volunteer for the next batch if you want to. Yeah. All of them, we get a lot of benefit. If they are at University of Bengkulu, they can do the University's English Club. They will be mentoring like 10 other students, and so will be like 120 students. They're mentoring their activities like discussion, public speaking, game, watching movies, or anything, or TOEFL, learning TOEFL. So all of them can have activities at UPT Bahasa that related to English, and also they are training to hold such event like today. This is the people behind except us at UPT Bahasa. So this is the person on duty today. You can see that our university student, your fellow, they can do better. They can do that. Nothing is impossible. And they have selected and also believe that this event today we have, and also later on, I hope Ibu Rector will make it official, the University English Club. And next month, spill sedikit, next month, PT Bahasa also will inshallah held another event for student and lecturer. This is the courtesy from the British Council. And then probably we will have a pre-testing IELTS for everyone. If you test IELTS, you will have to pay 4 million, but for the pre-testing later on, we will inform you more. So you can tune on for the social media of UPT Bahasa, Instagram of UPT Bahasa, if you want the information about the activities related to English that we held at UPT Bahasa. So without further ado, so thank you so much, volunteers, and all back to your place on duty again. Okay. And okay. Want to take pictures? Okay. Yes. Here, Oscar. Oh, di situ boleh juga. Back. Di situ dulu. Okay. Okay. Yeah, they are all good leaders. Okay, I think I have to also be there. Oh, masih, nanti ada foto sesi Anda after this. Iya, nah sama Ibu juga. Okay, I finish this. Yeah, back to your place. Nanti ada photo session setelah ini. So everyone, Ibu Rektor and everyone, hopefully the talk show today with also we have Patricia will talk about English, the urgency of anything related to English later on will be beneficial for them too. So hopefully this talk show that we have and also the grand opening of University English Club or Unib English Club, we can contribute to bring Unib to a leading university as expected by all of us at the University of Bengkulu. And maybe without further ado, so I will hand this over back to the MC to proceed to the next agenda. And once again, welcome and thank you very much for attending this event. I wish all participants good luck and have beneficial from this event we have today. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Dr. Wisma Yunita MPD for the remarks. The next is the welcoming speech from the Rector of the University of Bengkulu and officially open our big event today. To Dr. Retno Agustina Eka Putri MSc, the floor is yours.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I think I like what Bu Wisma request us, especially on Friday, we need to speak English, right? And in this room, you need to speak English too, right? Is that right? So just be prepared. We need to speak English, and I appreciate the 12 students will be the volunteer for the many event in the program for the UPT Bahasa. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, sehat walafiat semuanya. Ini adalah today. I'm sorry, I speak Indonesian and English. I still forget. I'm sorry. It's not easy to make a speech, right? Because I'm not preparing the speech. But today, I think this is a good time for everyone in this room. I thought it's also the lecture, the head of the faculty and the dean and the vice dean and everyone in the program study should also have the English club. Early this morning, I have a meeting with the Belmont University for tailor-made program in the training for especially the medical science, medical and health science. So we have a program. The one thing that the head of the international office asked me is whether a student understand English, and of course I said yes, they understand English. And then the next question is whether they speak English, and this is quite different because we learn from maybe from elementary to high school and even to the university, we learn English. We have a course in English. So we have a course in English at least from the junior 3 years, and then high school 3 years, and then a university. We have 1 year English course, but English course. Usually we have like, you understand the textbook, you understand the reading, you understand when you have the listening, but you are not confident enough to speak. So this is one of the problem. Speaking is very important for you to communicate. So I suggest you learn, you try, you practice your English by at least speaking English on Fridays. You spread out the idea for having the English club in the program study or the faculty level. At the economic department, I think we have, when I was in the head of the department, we have actively English club, and I'm not sure right now it's still going on, or I'm not sure right now. Maybe no, it's not working. So I'm sorry for that. I think English club is a good place for you to start speaking, not on the formal setting, but informal setting is, I think, is a good idea. Today, because it's a launching of the English club, what is the name of that English club? Oh, Unib English Club. So we have it formally over here. Maybe later, as a rector, I really believe that the importance of the English language is very crucial for the university. When we have the international, or this is like Bu Wisma mentioned, internationalization, mean that we need to not only just a written internationalization, but that's also mean that everyone have a proficiency English. Well, not only English actually, but you have to have international language. You maybe later, after, because Bu Wisma is in the UPT Bahasa. UPT Bahasa mean language center. Language center, it doesn't only English. Maybe you have also the other language that you have. Several years ago, or several, I think, I'm not sure, in the early 2019 or 20, something like that, we also have Japan, right? Yeah. And then we plan to have like Germany. Maybe Arabic is also a good idea. Chinese or anything. You need to learn more than one language to learn, because now communication is very easy for you to reach around the globe. So you make a friend as much as you can. You make a friend from other university, and then you understand that the differences between country, differences between region will enrich your understanding that we live in the same globe, and we have the same need, and we have the same ability. And you prove that you are welcoming anybody who come here to learn, to share ideas, to share your knowledge, and so on. So it will enrich your knowledge, and I agree with that, truly agree with that. So again, thank you for having this opening. Bu Wisma and team, congratulate, and officially I would like to open the University English Club by UPT Bahasa today, April 14 to 2023. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Dr. Ratno Agustina Eka Putri, MSc, for the very nice speech and for opening our big event officially this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to our next agenda, praying. To Mr. Yusri Fajri Anur, the stage is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, and may peace be upon us all. The Honorable Rector of University of Bengkulu, speakers, and participants. I am Yusri Fajri Anur. In this occasion, will be the prayer leader. Please kindly allow me to lead our prayer today in Sharia Islam. To those of you who are in other beliefs or religions, we are begging you to pray on your own way. To start the prayer, let's recite the Holy Surah Al-Fatiha. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Alhamdulillahi hamdan syakirin, hamdan na'imin, hamda yu'afi, ni'amahu wa yukafi'u mazida. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu, kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhikal karimi wa azimi sultani. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali wa sahbihi ajmain. Rabbi gfirli wa liwalidayya warhamhuma kama rabbayani shahira. Waghfir lana wa li abahina wa ummahatina wa ammatina wa ajdadina wa jaddatina wa dawil khufuqi alaina wal muslimina wal muslimat wal mu'minina wal mu'minat. Allahumma umuran tawilan wa badanan sahihan wa ilman nafi'an wa rizqikan halalan thayyiban khasi'an wa amalan mutaqabbalan wa imanan sabita. Allahumma salli alaina bil amani wal imani was salamati wal islami wal afiyati mujalati wa difail asqami wal aini ala salati wasiyami wa tilawatil qur'ani. Allahumma salimna li ramadana wa salamahu lana wa salamahu mina hatta yakhruju ramadana wa qad ghafarta lana warhamtuna wafta'ana. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Today we carry out the grand opening of the Unib English Club and the talk show with the theme, The Urgency of English for Unib Internationalization. Therefore, Ya Allah, please bless our activities this morning from the beginning until the end. Allahumma arinal haqqa haqqa warzuqna tiba'a wa arinal batila batila wajna tinaba. Ya Allah, Ya Rabbana, show us that what is right, and give us the strength and ability to fulfill it. And show us that what is wrong, and give us the strength and ability to abandon it. Ya Allah, Ya Malikul Quddus, bless us with health, prosperity, and well-being, and guide us to the straight path, the path that you are pleased with. Ya Allah, Ya Ghaffar, please forgive us for our sins, the sins of our parents, the sins of our former because it's only to you that we will return forever. Allahumma innaka afuwun karim, tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Allahumma innaka afuwun karim, tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Allahumma innaka afuwun karim, tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutmainnah, irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyah, fadkhuli fi ibadi wadkhuli jannati. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wassalamun alal mursalin, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, that was the opening ceremony for the grand opening and talk show of Unib English Club 2023. Let's close our opening ceremony today by saying Hamdalah. I am the master of the ceremony. On behalf of the committee, would like to thank all participants, our honorable guest speaker, and attendees who are present this morning. We are sorry for all the mistakes. That is all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before we get into our main talk show, we are going to have a photo sessions with Bu Rektor, Dr. Retno Agustina Eka Putri, our invited speaker, Dr. Patricia, and the head of UPT Bahasa, the University of Bengkulu, Dr. Wisma. We are begging you please to come forward. Unib English Club 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Safira Zawa Ananta as the host of the talk show of Unib English Club 2023. Check.
Oh, come on, guys. I know that we're fasting today, but I need more energy than that, all right? Give me more, give me more. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Kak Carol, for presenting me a little while ago, but in order to get to know more each other a little closer, I'd like to reintroduce myself. My name is Safira Zahwananta, but you can call me Daffy for short, because I figure Safira Zahwananta would be too long for you to just call me, right? Just call me Daffy. I'm a student from accounting study program, currently on my 4th semester. I will be your host during our keynote speaker and our guest speaker session, the sessions that we all have been waiting for, I believe. So during these sessions, make sure you guys take a lot of notes, because there will be a lot of inside knowledge that will be 100% useful if you know how to catch it and how to apply it in your real life. Remember, regarding to English, the urgency of English for Unib internationalization, getting more insight into English with Unib English Club. So it's all about English. Now, I believe that today's agenda will be really good listening practice for you all. So before we welcome our keynote speaker, there are several things that I'd like to mention in advance. We will have 3 parts for each speaker. The first one, our speaker will explain the material. Second, me and our speaker will be going to have a little discussion about the material. And the third one, I will open up Q&A session for 5 people for each speaker. So there will be 10 questions from all of you. And guess what? We have door prize for each questions. Who of you who are brave enough to ask a question? So yeah, you better build up that courage from now on. Okay, for today's talk show, our first speaker, which I believe you already noticed from the flyer, is no other than our beloved Madam Rector, which will be discussing a lot about our theme today, the urgency of English for Unib internationalization with me. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome, please give a huge round of applause, our Madam Rector, Dr. Retno Agustina Eka Putri. Good morning, ma'am. How are you today? All right. All right. Well, gotta admit, I'm kind of nervous right now. Okay. 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 Thank you very much, ma'am, for taking the time to attend the first Unib English Club event, namely the talk show with the theme of the urgency of English for Unib internationalization, getting more insight into English with Unib English Club. Now, I believe that this theme is closely related to our campus agenda last year, ma'am, which is Akwin International Accreditation. I think our friends here are getting excited already to get to know more about your opinions and your ideas, knowledge about related to our theme. I'm gonna ask you.
Don't be nervous. You're right.
Okay.
You're all right.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you several questions. Okay. And from those questions, our friends will take a little notes, and then after our discussion, they will ask you several questions too. Okay, ma'am, first question. In your opinion, considering the rapid growth of globalization and technologies development in today's world, how important is the English skill capability for each individual?
Yes, thank you for your question. As I speak earlier, that I mentioned that your ability to speak foreign language is very important for understanding many things. First, for your study, you have a textbook in English, right? You have to textbook in English. So the first language that you have to understand is English. I'm not sure. This one in here is selected by your ability to speak English or to understand English or by your IELTS score or what? I mean, like, I'm not sure. The student who is coming in here is special for grade in your UPT Bahasa or? Oh, great. Okay. Oh, good. Good. Great. Great, great. Because I cannot see everyone. I mean, everyone in the back there, I cannot see them. So you are very enthusiastic for having this English club, University of Bengkulu English Club. You mentioned that how important is your understanding in foreign language, especially in English. First, when you speak internationally, mostly speaking language is English. So English is most understandable in the international communication. I visit several countries, maybe do not understand English too. Some of the European countries, even most of the people do not speak English. So it's difficult for us. We have to need interpreter to speak English. But mostly they speak English. They speak English in several versions, so you have to understand what they are speaking. So first, why you need the English? Because this is the international language that is used by most of the people around the world. That one. And the second one is also your ability in your English is make you easier to understand a lot of literature, a lot of journal, a lot of book in the in your field. So this is the second one. And the third one is that by your ability in your English, you have more interaction, you have more opportunity to make friends around the world. You want to have friends around the world? Yeah, just start to make a friend. You have to make a friend by sending or joining a group, something like that. And when you join the University of Bengkulu Unib English Club, I hope you also have a program on how to reach out to make a friend around the world. I have a lot of things to say, but is it enough?
It's okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the more we talk about, the more knowledge that our friends here will get.
Yeah. I read news. I think earlier this year or last year, that this is elementary student would like to make a friend around the world. I think this is from Australia, I'm not sure, one of the school, and they decide to send a message through, you have a lot of way to send a message, and the teacher would calculate how many respond around the world that he got, and then put a pin on the map which country that answer that message. I think it's a good idea, and they got a lot of message back to the school from the student. And I'm not sure do you have any friend not from Indonesia or not from Bengkulu?
Yes.
Around the city in Indonesia, and then in the ASEAN. This year, Indonesia is the leader, as the chief of the ASEAN Summit 2023. So this is how you speak with the neighboring country if you don't speak English. So you have to speak English. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer, ma'am. So yeah, about that question, do you have any friends from outside of the country, right? me personally, I have several friends from United States, from UK, from around the world, and the key is to be brave enough to ask them several questions, because they actually love to communicate with us, to getting more knowledge between each countries, and it is a very great chance. And also about it's easier because of the existence of technologies, ma'am, right? Yeah, we can easily communicate through Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, and you don't really have to send letters like back in the old days. So yeah, it's really great. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Now, maybe let's put the scope smaller a little bit. When it comes to internal of University of Bengkulu, how do you think the readiness of the teaching staff and lecturers in English from all faculties, ma'am? Maybe.
Honest answer or do you diplomatic answer? Well, we have that international accreditation last year, right? And earlier this year. And they also asked that whether your lecture, academic support, and a student understand how fluent they understand the English. So what I'm trying to answer is that because last time everyone who answered the question from the Aquin team is you have interpreter, right? So all of the dean, all of the vice dean, most of the vice dean, most of the supporting staff assist by the interpreter, by you and your friend and other volunteer from the lecture, so that I understand where the question is leading to. My answer is that they understand English. They understand English passively. You all understand English, but not confidence enough to speak. If I said that they don't understand English, we will not have that international accreditation. But as far as I understand, most of the lecturer, most of the student, most of the supporting staff know the reading. When you read the English version, they understand. And when you listen to the English speaking, they understand. But not confidence enough to express, to answer the question. So internally, the problem is one, we need to have this kind of English class, not only for students, also for lecture and for supporting staff. So so everyone will understand that. So next time you don't need to have that interpreter that much, but they can speak on their own. That's why I urge everyone to have this kind of English class for different people in the campus.
Okay, so we noticed that the main problem is not brave enough to speak, to express their their ideas, their knowledge in English, but understand English passively, ma'am. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Now, still a follow-up question to that matter. So, if the problem is not brave enough to speak, how do you think would be the most possible way to overcome the fear, ma'am? How did you do when you are trying to be brave?
Yeah, it's not easy. You have to make a lot of several program, a meeting, informal meeting when you can speak English and invite guests who is a native speaker in English to have a discussion, because Ms. Dr. Pratisya understand Indonesian, but please speak in English. So everyone would try their best to explain something in English. So I would like to invite foreign native researcher to come to the researcher or anybody, yeah, student to come to the university to have the conversation session. Actually, you can have like online or offline, something like that. So it's possible when you have the program for having the English club. For example, in the English language, you can offer English club. The topic today is how to bake a bagels, for example. So everyone will explain. So, for example, I remember when we have the native speaker and we have an English club long time ago at the English center. We only asked to explain what we are doing in the morning. So when I explain I have to make a coffee, something like that, and then I have to explain how to make a coffee. So you have several words to explain, right? You get the coffee, whether you get the bean coffee and you grind it, and how you make it that coffee just right for you or something like that, or how can you cook rice or something that is you doing earlier or something like that. So the discussion is not only professional in your field, but also you can have it chatting. I mean, like informal, and or maybe you can go outside. You can go to the beach and have a discussion about the beach or about the university. You can have a discussion like that. So more and more, and I'm glad that you have that 12 volunteer. From 12 volunteer, you will have 10 each, multiply by 10, then you have 120, 120 multiply by 10, then you have 1,200 and up, and you can reach everyone for making enough, yeah. So everyone will be confident in speaking, yeah.
So the main key to be brave is you need partner to talk, because when you only talk to yourself, it would not be as good as you're talking to somebody else. Yeah. To understand each other, to understand each other and to be better. Okay, ma'am. Now, in today's world, the media in learning English is diverse. We have a lot of things that we can do. It can be done on various platforms in various ways. Some learn English through music, some through movies, books, or even games. I want to know, when you were developing your English skill, what was your method when you're learning? Is there any specific method that you did? Because maybe that your method could be such an inspiration for our friends here to follow up, maybe as an example.
Okay. Well, when I was I live in a complex. I mean, like a university setting complex. When fortunate enough that the neighbor is usually from foreign country researcher, so I speak with that. But in a group, I think listening to the music is a good way. I like to listen to the music and understand that lyric, right? That lyric, that's good. So when you listen to the music, then you try to understand the lyric, but that's not really formal, right? That's, yeah. And the second one, when you read the book, I like to listen to the music, the TV in English, and then when you read the book, try to read a little bit louder and you record it. You record it and then you will listen your voice, whether you confidence with that or you have to try to learn more on speaking. So that's what I'm doing. And then joining a group is a good way. So I joined the English club, and during my childhood, and anything going up from there. So you can have a discussion on that. And I like to read, so reading is a good way. I like to read a lot, so not only on the journal, right? You read many
Novel maybe, ma'am?
book, novel, yeah, novel in English, try that, and then
What
and movies, yeah.
movies?
Yeah, and watch a movie. Try not to read the subtitle and understand what they discuss on that. Yeah. Okay.
What type of what genre that you usually read in books, ma'am? Is it drama,
None of them.
romance?
Drama, romance, I like that. Not horror. I don't like horror.
You don't like it? Okay.
I don't like mystery sometimes, but I like when I watch movie. Until now, I like Disney movie, something like that. I like
Disney
not
movie.
very well.
Animation.
Something easier. Sometimes you need to do that, right?
Just to
Yeah.
let off the stress and
yeah.
all that. Yeah. When I watch movies, sometimes I turn off the subtitles to practice my listening skill, or I change the subtitles into English so that I could know what would be the pronunciation for this word, So yeah, So basically, to learn English, you could do it while having fun, ma'am.
That's
You don't
right.
you don't
I
have to
agree
be
with
so burdened off with the.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Good for
Okay.
you.
All right. Now, when I look at your at the history of your education, ma'am, you get your master's and doctoral degree at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, United States. Could you share us a little bit about your experience there, ma'am? Maybe how you communicate with the people around there.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. First, you get the scholarship when your TOEFL is like for 550. You get that, and then you get the scholarship. My scholarship is USAID, and then I have the first. Actually, I'm in Lexington, Kentucky, but then I moved to Tennessee because of family matter. I mean, like we would like to have the same university, something like that. When I come to Tennessee, we speak earlier about the dialect. I don't understand. A lot of things I don't understand because it's different. Southern United States in the south is Tennessee is when you Tennessee, the country music, the Smoky Mountain, and you learn about that. And then the first semester is very difficult, very tough. I don't. It's difficult for me to understand the lecture too. But what I'm doing is come to the teacher, lecturer, just explain that I don't understand about what I don't understand on the lecture. So they will give me the book and the note, something like that. So the most important thing is to have a discussion first with them. And the second one, because not many Indonesian students in the university, so for master and doctorate, we have a office room, something like that, and we speak with the colleagues. I mean, like the friends, something like that, on a lot of things. So try to make a discussion, try make communication. So the first year is very difficult, and I struggle a lot on that. But after first semester, the second semester, everything is doing fine. It's good, and everyone is very supportive with us. I mean, like people are over there is helping you to understand the topic, and your friend is good, a good place to ask. So a lot of things, and then I go for the doctorate degree is also over there. A lot of American friend would like to take us out for a short visit in the country. So that's my experience. So the first one, you have to have the English proficiency. You have to reach the TOEFL 550. Right now, the university only require 400, and we got the difficulty in reaching 400, TOEFL 400. So you have to learn more. You have to try your best. While you are a student, it's a good start for you to make a target. If you like to go abroad for your degree, then prepare that a lot. Don't waste your time by not try to reaching the goal. In my college, I already have in mind that I would like to study in America. I really would like to have that. So I'm looking for that, and I try to work on the TOEFL test. And maybe your IELTS, try to do that your best. Make a target, and then where you want to go. If you want to go to Europe, then you take a look how to get there. What the chance for having the scholarship, something like that. So you make a target in your journey, right? Okay.
So you need to set up the target first, and then you can figure out how to get there.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, now there's a little debate going on out there, ma'am, whether for beginners, which one should be prioritized first, speaking or grammatical structure? I'd like to know about your opinion about that.
Well, you are going to talk about that. So
Okay.
Dr. Patricia will talk
Okay.
about it. So
All
yes.
right.
Yes, okay, so you will answer that later. On your English test, you don't have like speaking, right? You have listening. You have grammar,
Reading.
auto structure, and then vocabulary, and
Reading.
reading, and listening. So you don't have speaking. So that's later on. So you have to, well, what I feel is each day you can improve your vocabulary. That's very important. You make a target. When I have English class, English courses for my applying for my degree, I make a target for having vocab and understand the context. So every day, I think most of the lecture during my period, we discuss how many vocab you improve. So every day, because you don't have a lot of time, right? You need to improve your vocab by reading novel, by listening, watching movies, something like that. So vocabulary is important. Grammar, you learn grammar from junior high school, right? And then high school, and then university. So you improve back that by practicing that. So reading and vocab is in line. I mean, like when you read a lot, you make a sentence, make a note, understanding the context. And then also for listening. The lesson, when you don't know the word for the vocab, then you don't understand that. So, yeah.
Okay, one last question, ma'am, before we
Okay.
move on towards the questions from our friends. what are your hopes for our friends here who are currently in the learning process? Maybe you have like,
I hope for.
yeah, for our friends, for our students.
Okay, for student. The university rule is that you have to have TOEFL score, minimum TOEFL score 400. And that's on the rule of the university and actually have to be implemented this year. So when you are not reaching 400, you cannot graduate. That's the rule, unless we revise the rule, because it has to be in place now. It was in 2022 decree, rector decree, and the Ministry of Education and Higher Education would like to set a limit for 100. That's become a problem right now. How many students reaching 400? No, not more than 50%, right? Yes. %30%. So when you graduate, but you don't have the TOEFL, you cannot graduate. So it's difficult. We have to make sure how we go. We go from that, because this is regulation is from the central government, the higher education. So if you putting the lower passing grade for TOEFL, then it's going to pressure on your accreditation process. So you have to make sure this is going to be massive English proficiency training and supporting for the test for the TOEFL 400 minimum. I hope we can reach that. Otherwise, we have to, I don't know, we have to request that we have to hold that. But make sure 400, TOEFL 400, actually it's not that difficult. Because for scholarship, you need 550. If you want to go for passing your grade and then passing your, getting your scholarship, then you have to reach more than 400. What I'm suggesting for you is to understand first what is in the TOEFL test. Second, make sure that you really like to learn that English. When you like to learn, then it's easier for you. The third part is support by the university. So university should have the training and courses for reaching that goal. So this year, plenty of steps that we have to go together for having or supporting the student for that. I hope the student is agree with me that it's not that difficult to reach 400, but you have to learn how. You will need to, sometime when you not understand how the test is on, you don't know about it, then you don't know how to work on it. So it's available over there, right? The several tests, practices.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's free.
Of course.
Yeah. So tutor, maybe we should have more tutor in the all of the study program. 56 study program. So at least 1 or 2 tutor for each of the study program. So hopefully that we can do that. Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much, ma'am.
You're
Okay.
very welcome.
Okay, so now I'm going to open up the Q&A section for 5 people. Okay, wow, we have a lot of questions ready, about 1,000. No. Okay, I will open up for 5 questions, ma'am. Would that be okay? Okay, I will go to the, yes, please introduce your name and from which faculty.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. Good morning, everyone.
Please stand up, stand up.
Stand up, okay.
Good morning.
My name is Alvin Mahendra. I am a student of social welfare from Faculty of Social and Political Science. Talking about learning English and speaking in English, you said that we have to be a confidence, but the fact that when we enter the Bengkulu University, that we don't have the environment that support us to speak in English, because some of my friends sometimes still judge me when I speak in English. That makes me not confident when I'm speaking English. And my question is, as a rector Bengkulu, how you can provide us, to change the Bengkulu University become a supportive environment for us, especially all the students, to speak and to learn English. Because when my friend, not only the facility, I know maybe you already provide the facility, but the environment also become a factor that when we want to support us to speak in English. How? Because it is so sad when we study in Bengkulu University that we have the unsupported environment for us to speak in English. So please answer my question, because this is really important for us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the question. So how to change the perspective, the judgmental perspective from the friends, from the envious friends. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you for the question. I would like to have. I know how you feel, because when you speak English and everyone looking like judging you or something like that, so you have difficulty. But in each of the program, we post the one of the class in each of the program, because most of the program have 2 or 3 classes, A, B, C, or something like that. One of the class should be the international class, who teach in English, speak in English during the class session. At least by doing that, you will have a friend to talk, and you have a lecturer who teach you in a class. So I'm not sure in the social and political science. If you have that, then go to the international session. Like the international program in your class. The international class usually not many students enter the class, because the maximum student is 20 per class. But I feel I'm quite disappointed by one of my program that I'm in. In the first 3 or 4 years, a lot of students would like to go to the international class, because it's free. You have to pay the same fee for the class, but you have the support for the international. But now it's declined. Not many students would like to enter the international class, because I'm not sure why. If you enter that, and we try to invite and give a scholarship for international students to come here, hopefully to join that international class in each of the program. That's one. So go to that, and then the second one, when you finish with when you already have the club, English club, make sure that we have a fun activities. I will join that and I will support that. And then we introduce that this is the English club and we have a fun in doing it, and this is support your study and something, and that's going to support you. The university will do that. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're very welcome, and thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Okay, so hold on a second, hold your horses. All right, I don't know, I just want to say a little thing, you know, when it comes to envious people who, you know, judge us, so English or that kind of stuff, just screw them, you know, I mean, just talk, because it is us who is going to change the perspective. Show them that English is gonna be really important, well, not going to be, already important for today's world. So if they let their fear over-consume them, just leave them. I mean, maybe you could just pursue them to, come on, we could do this. You don't really have to judge me. We could do this together. So you get the answer from the rector? Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. We have one more slot. Who wants to ask a question? Okay, go ahead.
Good morning. I am Gita Nababan. I am student from Geophysics, Faculty Mathematics and Science. And we know that many people, even students of University Bengkulu, want to know how important foreign language, moreover in English, because as we know, English is international language that we use in all countries. But many students don't understand yet about English, and they don't understand yet how to speak English well. So, however, meanwhile, many scholarships that we can try, but because some of them didn't know to speak English, and some of them didn't get a good, like score TOEFL or experience in English program, so they feel discouraged to register and try it. So now I want to ask from myself, as a rector of University Bengkulu, what will you want to do to make other students to get their knowledge deeper about English skills? And also, I mean, because today, only some of students can attend this program. Meanwhile, many students, other this faculty, other these students who attend this program now, want to know deeper again about the English and to increase their TOEFL scores. So I mean, what do you want to make, or do you have an idea to make a program to all students of University Bengkulu, or stage a meeting for foreigners, foreigners and students, so they all know that how important English is and how to increase their confidence to speak in English and to increase their TOEFL scores. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Gita, thank you for your. Okay, thank you for your question, Gita, from mathematical physics class. It's different thing for scholarship and for understanding English. For scholarship, beside the English, of course, your GPA, what is that called? Grade, IPK, what is that? Yeah, you have to be certain level, right? Yeah, it's 3.5, and close to 4, something like that. And then you go the English, the sportive, because you need to understand English to go for this scholarship. First, how you this is only 200 students in the room, so how to make this is 200 students in the university. We have 22,000 students, so it's only how many percent is that? 1%, yeah, right? 10% is 200 something, and then 2,000 something, and then under this just 1%. This is 1%, but go from here, multiply from here. So in your program, in a math science, right? Math science, Pak Mudin ya, Pak Mudin and Prof Mudin, and introduce that you have a club. Yeah, with your friend, your in the same department, and those is there. Bu Wisma, maybe after this you have to have with the university, with the vice rector for the academic and vice rector of the you introduce that you have that English club and go from there. So multiply from there, multiply from the program study. And then you have a friend, you will have a friend to discuss, and you have a counterpart, a lecture to mentor you on the English. And they will understand that English Club, University of Bengkulu English Club is already launched, and grow from there to the program study, right? Yeah. So I think Bu Wisma later will explain to you. This is to the grand launching is for a student, and then from here move up to the official at the faculty and the study program, and you will know whose lecture is in charge of this English club. Okay? Yes.
All right. So do you get the answer?
Yes, I get it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. All right, moving on to the next question. It's okay, guys, if you want to do bilingual, because, I don't know, at first there's a lot of people who wants to ask, but then all of a sudden they just disappear. All right, the back, yeah, go ahead. Bilingual would be acceptable too. You don't have to be afraid. That's okay.
Thank you. Okay, hello. My name is Pedro Chaniago, and I'm from English teacher faculty. And my question is, first I want to tell about my experience about enter English club activity, because I have been included in several community, but the problem is that about sustainability. For example, there would be two possibilities. For the first one is the member is disappear, and then the committee is disappear. This is two possibilities. And then I want to ask about, I am a member of USC, and I want to ask about how USC maintain the sustainability of this community. And then I'm also want to ask the university side effort about to maintain this community. Okay, that's it.
Once the club is launched and then it's off, no more club, no one in the club, so no committee is not there, and even the member is not there. That means it's not interested. I mean, like, the person is not interested in the club, and it's not interesting in joining the English club. You have to make sure that when you join the English club, you have the opportunity to increase your ability in English. Maybe in the club you also not just speaking, learn together on the English, how to increase your TOEFL score. And then once in a while, have a program on that. So before graduate, you have to go to the English club. to make the Bu Wisma job easier, then the club should also learn to improve the TOEFL test, and then you will, or when you go to the test, you have to join the club first, something like that. Something like, so you go to, before the test, you go to the club and you learn together how to improve your TOEFL test, and then you go to the test. Once you fail because it's not enough for 100, and then you go again to the English club in the department. Because if everyone 1 year is about 4,000 to 5,000 students graduated. So if everyone, if only 30% already achieve 400 score in TOEFL, then 70% is not. 70% from 5,000 is mean 3,500. A lot of students. So you have to make a system how to train to improve the ability in student English score test. So I think that's my question. My answer, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, we need to move to another agenda after this. So we will, maybe for the next session, we will have more questions, ma'am, yeah. It will be only for 3 people this session. Okay. Okay. Pedro, do you get the answer? Is it clear enough? Okay, thank you so much. Okay. All right. For our Madam Rector and Madam Patricia, we really appreciate and thank you very much for coming and sharing very great ideas and insight knowledge. We have already prepared a certificate of high appreciation. We hope this is going to be a good appreciation and can be a good memory sign of the huge things that you have shared. So we would like to present the certificate. We will be given by our dearest Ma'am Wisma. Okay, thank you so much once again, dearest Madam Rector. Now, we have wrapped up our first session with our keynote speaker. What an extraordinary discussion we've had, and also I believe that all of you got a lot of beautiful and insightful knowledge from our Madam Rector. It's time for us to move on to our second session with our guest speaker. If you pay attention to the flyer earlier that we have sent to you, I believe you would notice that our guest speaker is how do I say this? A bule, so to speak, a foreigner. But hopefully, after this session, we would get to know more about each other and having a wonderful insight from her material. Okay, a brief introduction. Our guest speaker is Dr. Patricia Gale Patrick. She is an associate professor from Columbus State University. She is a scholar funded by Fulbright to do research on the field of School of Science Education in our province, Bengkulu, Sumatra, Indonesia. Now, actually, it makes me wonder what is it exactly the research that she has been doing over the past few years. But before we jump to that discussion, allow me to greet our amazing guest speaker, and please give a huge round of applause, Dr. Patricia Gale Patrick. Oh, you have a person. Okay. All right. So we would directly jump towards the presentation. Yeah. First, and then after that we would have a discussion. Okay.
Okay, am I on? Am I working? Is it working? Perfect. So if you noticed, probably you couldn't see me up here, but I was not being rude to the rector. I was actually making notes because there were things I wanted to address that you were asking before I did my presentation. So I wasn't being rude, I was actually making notes. And I'm going to speak in my regular presentation mode, because usually when I'm speaking to Indonesians or people who have English as a second language that's not at a high level, I usually speak more slowly. So I would usually do my presentation like this so that you can follow. However, today is Friday, and if I talk like this for an hour, it will be so boring. So it's So before I begin my presentation, I wanted to address the judgmental friends. Who was that back here? Someone asked about the judgmental friends. Yes, I'd like to address that because it happened to me, but not because of English. But I want to tell you how I addressed my judgmental friends. I am the first person from my family to graduate with a degree. And in the South, that's a big deal. And I was judged because I was smarter than everyone else. Not just by my friends, but my parents judged me too. Yes. So I want to address what that feels like. And I'm going to talk about it a little more later in the presentation. But I did want to say, and I made a note to myself to tell you, I had a friend when I was teaching school. I taught high school biology for 16 years. And I had a friend that pushed me to get my master's and my PhD, and this is what he said to me. Walk your path, and as you walk the path, you will see others like you who will merge with your path. You do not need those people who are not walking your path. You need the people you will meet who will be walking your path. So stop worrying about those people. Get rid of them out of your life if you can, and start finding the people that are walking your path. It worked for me. I now have a PhD, and look where I am now doing a Fulbright scholarship and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. If I had listened to my family and friends, I would not be here today. Okay, one more story, and I wrote a few notes, but I was going to tell this story anyway before I get started. I want to tell you a story because I think when I come and present, how many of you were at my last presentation for the English group? I know some of you I've seen before. How many of you, I think it was in, does anyone remember what month it was in? December? Do you remember? Was anyone here for that one? I have photographs. I can pull them up and find you. I know some of you were there. Anyway, some of you were there. So some of what you're going to see today is similar to what I said then, but I've added a few things. So before I begin, though, I want to tell you a story because I think you feel like you can't do it, right? How many of you truly in your heart think, I will never get to the point where I can speak English at a 550 for the TEFL? Think about that for just a second. And I want you to just sit for a second and mull that over in your mind. How many of you really believe you will never get to that point because it seems so far away? So all of you think you can get a 550 or you already have. Do you understand? Oh, well, that's great. Then I got the wrong audience. So let me tell you a story about someone who thought they couldn't do it. One of your Unib graduates that I worked with, I met him in 2018. His name is Aryoga Pratama. I met him in 2018 when I was here, and his English was, It was rough in 2018. But you know what he did? He came to me and he said, he actually was my sort of personal assistant the entire time I was here in 2018. So when we met, he said, I really want my English to be better, but it's not very good, and I'm afraid to talk to you. And I said, don't worry about it. When you get to a word, I will give you time to think. And if you can't say it or you can't think of it, maybe I can help you, right? So that's how we started our relationship. And his English wasn't good, and he was really worried. And over that 2 weeks I was here in 2018, his English did get some better, but not perfect. Then he came back in 2019, and he had a job on Bengkulu, on Banca. He has a position teaching there. And we talked several times while I was here, but I never got to see him in person. So then when I came back before I came back for this grant, Yoga contacted me, and he said his English is much better by this point. He's been working on his English. He contacts me and he says, I really want to write a grant. I really want to do things with my teachers. And I really believe in this grant, and I believe in you, talking about me. So we wrote this grant together. Now keep this in mind, this was in 2018. He couldn't even hardly speak English. And in 2022, we wrote a grant together in English, and we got it, $100,000 from the U.S. Embassy. So can you do it? Yes, you can. He did it, and he's from Unib. And he is now working with me, and guess what else he's getting ready to do? Because he didn't listen to his friends, and he listened to me, guess what? He's going to the U.S. He's going to America. Yep, so you can do it. You can leave here today and make that decision to do what it takes to learn English and learn what other languages you want to learn and be successful. But guess what? That is your decision. That is not your friend's decision. It is not your parents' decision. And I understand your culture, so what I just said is very difficult, and I know that. You have to decide what's best for you. Think about that. Okay, so those were my two stories. And the reason I told those two stories, ooh, we have gone really far. Can we go all the way back to the beginning? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so I know I didn't introduce myself, but they already have. But my name is Patricia Patrick. I'm an associate professor at Columbus State University, and that basically means I'm at the second level. So I've passed first level, I'm second level, and I'm about to become third level, which is full professor. Yeah. That's the highest you can be in the U.S. Okay, so next. Perfect. So today I'm going to be talking about English worldwide, what you need to know, how can you learn your, oops, go back. Okay, ways to improve your English, which all of you already know these. The 4 best free English language apps, I bet you already know all of these too. The dialects and what they mean, and the 5th thing I'm going to talk about is why should you care about number 4? And that's important. Okay, next. Okay. All right, so English worldwide, right? So what? Who cares? Why should we even care about English and being worldwide? Well, there are lots of reasons, and I talked about this in the presentation that I did for the English group. I think it was I don't remember. I know it was the English group, but I don't remember which one before. But I think that what they say about the world and about Indonesia are very important for all of you to see. So let's go to the next slide. All right, think about this. There are like, what, 6, now maybe 8 billion people in the world, I think, or 9 billion now. Okay, of those 9, and this isn't even an old statistic, so I might need to find out a new one, but 1,750,000 people speak English. Now, that doesn't mean they speak it fluently, it just means they speak it, right? So you want to be part of that number. You want to make that 2 million. Unib wants to make that number higher and higher and higher, right? So it's up to you to do that. All right, so that's why English is important, is because a lot of people speak it. And this doesn't mean as a first language, it just means that many people around the world speak English, okay? Next. Okay,
you can't see it, but it says that English is spoken in 70 plus countries. So more than 70 countries are speaking English. Now that doesn't mean necessarily as a first language, but there are 70 countries that rely on English as a way to speak with each other, okay? And that says 95% of employers worldwide expect you to speak English. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for people who can speak English fluently and can be understood. There's the important part. You can speak English all day long, but if someone can't understand what you're saying, they don't care if you can speak English, because they have to be able to understand it. And we're going to talk about that today. That's my whole thing is about dialects. That's what my whole thing is about today. So 95% of employers worldwide want you to speak English, but there's a specific English they want you to speak, and I'm going to talk about that. You see these two men? Quick story about these two men. This was back in 2001. These two men, took a picture of them in 2001. I went on a trip to Honduras, and I was studying sea turtles, and these two men are Honduran. And the coast, that's in Central America, if you don't know, just in case you don't know, it's Central America. And these two men, this was back in 2001, now keep this in mind, but they knew to make money from Americans, they had to do what? Speak English, right? Now this was in 2001. So these two men came to me, I was there studying sea turtles, and they came up to me and they came up to me and said, because you know they're trying to make money, right? They come up to me and they say, I can take you out on a boat and you can see manatees. I don't know if you know what a manatee is, but it's a dugong, and I was like jumping up and down and screaming, going, if I can see one, a manatee in the wild, in the real world, I'm going. So these two men, because they could speak English, made a whole lot of money off of me. So there's another reason to learn English. It's tied to the economy, right? So these two men in 2001 made, maybe 25 US dollars on me, which is about 350,000 rupiah. And I was with them for a day, and they made 350,000 rupiah off of me. And that was back in 2001. They're probably making way more than that now, the little hustlers, if they're still around. Okay, next. Okay, you have to keep moving that thing around because I keep putting my words in different places. I think it's 87%, so that's what we're going with. I think it's pretty sure it's 87%. So anyway, so an important statistic that you need to know about Indonesia, so not just the world. Now I'm trying to bring this home to you, right? The important thing you need to know, if you want to go to the next one, there we go. So this percentage is covered up, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure it's 87%. But so in Indonesia, a study was done by the Pew Foundation in the U.S., and they found, 87%. They went out and they interviewed businesses across Indonesia, right? All across Indonesia, and they said, we want to know how important is it to speak English for you to hire someone. 87% of business owners said, you need to speak English to work for me. That's important. That's a big deal, okay? I want to say one thing quickly right here before I go any further, and that is, you know what? I was listening to what you were asking the rector, the questions you were asking, and this is from my point of view. I'm not speaking for her. This is from my point of view. It felt like, I wouldn't say quite an attack, but almost an attack on what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for me, rector? What is Unib going to do for me? Okay, I understand your students. I understand you're paying to come to school here, but you need to stop that mentality. The mentality should be, what can I do for myself? Not, what can Unib do for me? What can the rector do for me? What can my friends do for me? What can my parents do for me? Because guess what? You're the only one that's going to be making it to this 87%. So you need to think about that. Not saying that the university shouldn't be helping you. I'm just saying, you go seek the opportunities, not wait for them to come to you, because no one's just going to come to you and go, hey, speak English. I'm going to wave my magic wand, right? Okay, next. Okay, learning English. Let's talk about ways to improve your English. I bet every single one of you already know all of these, but I still think we should talk about them. Okay, ways to improve. Go to the next one. See, I told you got to move that thing again. Sorry. All right, so I already know what it says, so I'll just start talking. All right, so what you need to do if you're going to worry about you, right, and stop worrying about everyone else around you, stop worrying about the university, stop worrying about your friends, you need to worry about you. And what you need to do is find something you love. I'm talking about you love with all your heart and means the world to you. Well, for me, I don't have children, so guess what it is? And I know I almost didn't put these photos up here, but we're all in different cultures and we have to accept everyone's culture, right? So for me, my entire life, the reason I breathe is for my dog. I see him every morning. I talk to him every morning, and he's not here. So I call home every morning. I get up. I know you all get up early. I get up early at 6 a.m. every morning so that I can call and talk to my dog every single morning. I don't care where I am. If I even don't have internet, I'll use my phone so that I can see my dog and make sure he's okay. And sugar on him virtually. They have to put the phone up to him, and I go, love you. Okay? So what is that one thing that you feel that way about? It might be cars. It might be girls. It might be men. It might be religion. It might be the Quran. It could, I don't care what it is. Find that thing. Find that thing that you love more than anything. And what I want you to do, this is an interactive presentation, by the way. I want you to turn to someone next to you, and in English, I want each of you to say, in just a few words, not a whole long conversation, I want you to look at that person, which I'm about to show you how to do this. Look at that person and say, I love my dog. And you're going to say, what's your love?
Maybe I love exercise.
You see how quick that went? So what I want all of you to do is to turn to each other and quickly say, I love exercise. I love my dog. Do it quickly, and let's find out what your love is, because I got something to tell you about it. Sorry, tell you how to learn English. That's the teacher in me. I got that teacher voice. I don't feel like I need one of these. Okay, next slide. Okay, you take the thing you love and you make it the center of English. Exercise, sports, parents, cats, movies, whatever it is. You take son. Was it, what did you say you loved? I forgot. I thought I heard you. Oh, she loves to cook. Me too, by the way. Woohoo! So we've got some cooks up here. We've got some movie buffs. We've got some sports freaks. Got some exercise people, parents. We've got all kinds of things. Animal lovers. So when you find that one thing that you love, you go out and learn every single thing about it you can in English. Learn about it in English. Don't learn about it in Bahasa. When you go online and search for it, don't search for it in cats in Bahasa. I don't know what it is, but search for cats, C-A-T-S, right? Search for exercise in English. Search for cooking in English. So that leads me to the thing about attitude. When you love something, people make fun of me because I love my dog so much. Can you imagine? Why are they making fun of me? I love my dog. Don't make fun of me. Because they don't love their dog. You know what? They don't love exercise. They might not love sports. They might not love cats. They might not love movies. Guess what? You do. So you need to start, this goes back to your whole friends thing again, attitude. It's all about attitude. Walk your path. Learn your English if you want to do it. And don't worry about everyone else. So you got to have attitude, right? Do not be embarrassed. Do not be embarrassed that I love my dog. I'm learning everything I can about my dog in Bahasa. Okay? Be bold. Stand there and take it when your friends say, why are you doing that? You think you're better than me? Then you go, well, kind of. Yeah, I am better than you. Okay? So be bold. Be confident. Stand there, take it, and then move on. You are you, all right? And the most important thing, which all of us suck at, is listening. I suck at it. I suck at listening because I just want to talk over everyone around me, right? So to learn English, you have to learn to listen, wait for the person to finish, then you speak in English. Wait for the person to speak, and you speak in English. And that is so hard to do. If you can master that, that's everything. I suck at it. Like I just said, I'm not good. I'll be standing here talking to these women, and they'll be saying something, and I'll have a thought in my mind, and I just go blah, 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 right over the top of what they're saying, right? Because it's my personality, and I'm trying really hard to become a better listener. Because I will tell you something about listeners. Listeners are smart. Listeners know more than anyone who talks. Listeners are successful. The best people, like, this is one of the things I've been working on. I want to be a good leader. I really do. I want to be a good leader. Guess what good leaders have to do? Listen. They have to wait. Come on, bring it on. All your complaints, all your junk, all your whatever it is, bring it on. And then we listen, and then we think about it, and then we respond. That's a good leader. And I've been working on that. I think I'm getting better at listening and taking into consideration things. So the reason I'm making this point is because this is the English, right? If you can listen and then respond in English, you listen in English, you respond in English, but give the person time, right? Because I will tell you this, I speak Spanish. And when I first started learning Spanish, it would take me like forever to come up with the word I wanted. I know you know what I'm talking about. Like you're sitting there and you're going, I got the word, I got the word, I got the word. Don't interrupt that person. Give them the time when you're speaking English with them, if they're ESOL, English is another language. Give them time. Allow them to think, because guess what? That's the learning process right there. When you see them going like, that's learning. Don't talk over them. Okay, next. All right, I know this is the part where you're all going to go, we already know that. Okay, so watch and listen. Movies, TV, podcasts, YouTube. I know all of you are already doing all of this, but remember, do it for your thing you love. Exercise, go find them. Go find every movie about exercise. Go find every movie about whatever your thing is. I watch dog movies and I cry all the time because they're so freaking sad. There is not a daggone happy dog movie ever made. Ever. Go look. I guarantee you, movie lady, go find all the movies about dogs and they all end with a dog dying. I'm just going to ruin them all for you right now. Okay. Podcast, YouTube, you know all of these things, but do it about the thing you love. Okay, next. Read. Read about the thing you love. Read. Read out loud. The rector's already said some of this. Record yourself. Anytime you're talking to someone on Zoom or you're talking to someone in person or whatever it is you're doing, I want you to record it and listen to it. This is the only way you're going to know how you sound, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. I'm getting there. I'm working on it. Okay, so next. I challenge you to learn a new word every single day about your love. Whatever that thing is that you love, learn a new word. Ingredients. Dumbbell. Let's see. You're right. I saw you over there. Okay, and so let me see. Meow. Licking. Okay. Let's see, for movies. Plot. That's a good one. Okay, so see what I mean? You can find English words, and as you're learning those English words, you'll pick up others as you walk your path. Those words will come, those words will come, those words will come. Okay, next. Okay, so this is my kitchen here. and so the people in your family might think you're crazy. If you aren't already doing this, you need to be. Label every single thing in your house, label everything in your car, label everything on your bike, label. And the more you see it, you'll go, oh yeah, that's toilet. Oh yeah, like I've got here, that's box, that's can, that's honey. You know what I mean? Like if you label it and you see it every day, and they don't have to be big labels like this. I just made it so I could take a photo and you can see them. They could be, they can be tiny. You don't have to walk around your whole house putting these big labels on everything, and your family's going, "What is wrong with you?" Maybe don't do that. Okay, next. Okay, so apps. Remember we were going to talk about apps. I know you already know apps, but I wanted to pick the ones that I think are the best for. And I've been to them, I've looked at them, I've used them, and they're free. If it's free, it's for me. So I know some of them you can kind of upgrade and purchase, but you don't need to do that for what you want to do. This particular one, Hello English, if you don't know Hello English, how many of you are using Hello English? None? Come on. Not one person in here is using you're using Hello English. Okay, awesome. Hello English is my #1 choice. It's my #1 choice. It has games and news and books. Go there and see if you can find I'm going to give you a challenge. Go there and see if you can find your favorite topic anywhere on any of these apps I'm about to tell you about. So that's one of them. That's my #1. Okay, next one. Yeah, Duolingo, right? Okay, that one is my second choice. Okay, and now, how many of you do use Duolingo? Right? See? Yes, do you like it? Yeah, Duolingo's cool. I like it, but I still like the other one better. Okay, and the one I like about Duolingo is it tests you and decides whether you're ready for the next step. You know, like TOEFL does, like, oh yeah, you're up, go. Anyway. Okay, so next. Oh, thank you, sorry, I was in the way. Okay, Lingby. Anyone use Lingby? You do! One person! Oh my God, it's my third favorite. Do you like it? Yes. Okay, well, I'll tell you what I like about Lingby. Lingby is it's like a social media sort of kind of thing, so you connect with other people and you learn by actually having real conversations like we're doing right now. Is that what you're finding? Yeah. Oh, hang on.
So usually I talk with native people from there, which use coins, of course, but it works a lot for me.
Okay, I think I'm going to have to hurry up because I've just about used up all my time and I have so many cool things to tell you about. Okay, next. Memrise. I love Memrise. Memrise is my #1 if you want to actually engage with someone else. Do you know Memrise? Anyone use Memrise? Okay, with Memrise, the reason I like it is because you design the interactions and you're paying it back. So what happens is you design something in Bahasa and someone else has designed something in English. So someone out there's learning Bahasa and you're learning English. How cool is that? I love that concept. So it's a crowdsourcing thing, but it's my 4th choice. But I think the other ones do a little bit better. If your English is not high enough yet, this is a better one. This one's for later. The first 2 are really if your English isn't high enough, but once you get to a conversation stage, this is for you. Okay, next. Okay, and the whole reason I wanted to do this presentation today is because I wanted to talk to you about dialects. As you well know, Indonesia, even Bengkulu city itself has several dialects, right? Good Lord, I tried so hard to find people who could, I've been interviewing native healers across 8 tribes. 8 tribes in this province, right? All 8 of them. Do you know how hard it is to get someone who speaks Muko and English and Bahasa and all the things I could list on that list? It's impossible. It is impossible. So either they're really good at Muko, or they're really good at Bahasa, or they're really good at Bengkulu, or they're really good at English, and they're never good at all of that stuff, right? So it's hard because you have lots of different dialects. Now, what I want to explain to you is English is the same way, and it sucks. really bad. Because if you don't know which dialect is the right one, you know what I mean by that? Like, I don't know how it works in Indonesia, but in America, we have the smart dialect that everyone has it's smart, and then we have the dialect that down here that everybody's like, oh, you speak that? Okay, well, that's how it is in other countries, including the 3 I have listed here. And I did these in alphabetical order, not because America's the best. I just want you to know that. I did it in alphabetical order. Okay, so I think, as you're thinking about which accent you want, and the rector alluded to this a little bit already. She said, when I got there, I didn't know what they were talking about, because it's a different dialect than the one she learned, right? So what we're going to do, or it was learning at the time. So what I want to do is I want to show you what these are like. Now, I want to give you a warning first, so if you feel like you need to leave the room, I completely understand. The one from Australia, the only way that I could teach you the dialects was to include a video where they say curse words, but they're not bad because he bleeps them. But that's how Australians talk. So if I didn't show it to you, I wouldn't be doing my job. So I'm just letting you know now, if you don't like curse words, it's not bad, but there are a few in there. So if you need to leave, I completely understand. Next. Okay, do you see this? This is a map of the U.S. And you know the U.S. is like freaking huge, right? We're the same size as Australia, just the U.S. is the same size as Australia. So we're big. And if you will look up here at this map, you'll see that there are all kinds of languages that are spoken in the U.S. And they only have a few of them. If you ask people in each state, I will tell you, we have 50 states, right? Well, 51 if you count, anyway, I won't get into all that. But we have 50 states. All 50 states have their own sound, and on top of that, in every single state, there's a different sound. I know it's crazy, right? So what I want you to do is click on where it says American. Can you not do video? Oh, no, you can't do video? Because I have these really cool videos. I want you to hear the dialects. So I want you to watch the video and hear the dialects. And if you can hear the dialects all together, then you can hear them better. Does that make sense? So if you hear them back to back to back, you're going to go, oh, I have the worst dialect in the United States. Mine is like at the bottom, the one that everyone makes fun of, and I'm going to tell you that story later, but I'm just letting you know I have the dialect that everyone thinks is stupid. I'm stupid. So I don't know if we're going to get to hear it. It is linked, so I'm hoping, no, we can't do them. Okay. We don't have internet, do we? Is that the problem? You mind waiting so I can show it? We'll do it really fast. I got a whole scene back here working.
This confluence of a whole bunch of different parts of the country. So the northern part of the state is really like the plains, so people kind of have that flat Iowa accent.
People always know I'm from the Midwest when I say bagel.
But if you get down south to the Little Dixie portion,
I never thought I had an accent, but everyone else told me I did, so I never really understood. I never thought I had an accent, but everyone else told me I did, so I never really understood my accent. But we say soda pop, and that was weird, I guess.
The great thing about Oklahoma is it's really this confluence of a whole bunch of different parts of the country. So the northern part of the state is really like the plains, so people kind of have that flat Iowa accent.
People always know I'm from the Midwest when I say bagel.
But if you get down south to the Little Dixie portion, it has a much more of a southern drawl.
Elongating those vowels a little bit and saying y'all every sentence.
How y'all doing today?
Y'all want to go to Waffle House? Come on over, we'll go to Waffle House.
It's just like real round in your mouth, and you're just like, hey y'all, how we doing tonight? Are you guys gonna go down to the game this weekend? I'm so excited. Like Joshua's doing real great this year.
Everybody talks really slow, especially compared to New Yorkers.
Most New Yorkers are loud. You gotta fit your way into a conversation most oftentimes when you're in New York.
Vermont's accent is very unique, and it's hard to slip into unless you're talking to another person who like grew up farming. But the phrase that I can say in my accent is always, oh sure, bud. Oh sure.
People from California kind of have like, they say like.
Colorado doesn't really have a typical accent. Lots of people say that it has no accent, but you'll definitely get called out if you say Colorado. It's Colorado.
So I've been told from people in New York that my state has an accent. Some people go Chicago. I don't think we do.
There's parts that I can hear like a little bit of a twang and kind of sound like this.
Some people in New Mexico have accents, depending on what part of the state you're from. People in the South tend to sound a little bit more like they could be from Texas.
Really wide syllables, really kind of drawn out phrases.
It's a little sing-songy, like a little bit Valley Girl almost. I'm from New Mexico and I love eating burritos.
You want to go skiing up on mountain?
Pass me those taters.
I don't know, I mean, like, there's cowboys, you know, there's horses. I don't know, because I don't feel like I have an accent.
I went home a couple of years ago and was watching home videos of my sister and I, and we had to like do a weather forecast as like little kids, and we'd be like, there's a big hurricane coming from the left coast, but don't worry because we don't know that it's coming. And people would be like, what are you saying?
I can put on the, you gotta park the car and hop the and give the guy a quarter for some chowder. That's a standard Boston accent right there.
Any ER would have an AH at the end.
It's kind of like Boston, but cooler and a bit more drunk. Like, we gotta go up to Bar Harbor to get some lobster supper.
My mom has this kind of strange half French Canadian, half Boston accent that sounds like peanut characters. Womp womp.
Well, if you're from North Dakota, you've got some long O's.
Oh yeah, you betcha.
You hang on to your R's a little too.
It gets a little bit thicker the older you are. Your grandma sounds a little bit like this. Your mom might be a little bit softer.
I'm from Wisconsin. Go Pack Go. It kind of gets like up here. Go Pack. I say big. I have some eggs in a bag.
The best example of the Wyoming accent I feel like I've ever seen was in Brokeback Mountain. One curve in the road and they missed it.
So if you live in Washington State, no one ever says they have an accent. They all think they speak pretty normal, which is kind of true.
Just
kind of middle of the road, sort of like Delaware itself.
But they also kind of have like a country hit kind of thing to them. So they'll say like, Worshington, like I'm gonna wash my hands, and you're like, "Worsh? What kind of word is that?"
We pronounce our T's as D's, so we say like Connecticut instead of Connecticut.
I feel like Michigan's typical accent is very nasally, high, like that type of vibe.
So if I'm from like Northside Kauai, I'm going to sound something like this.
People say that us Marylanders have accents, but I don't think we have an accent.
Idaho doesn't have a really distinct accent.
There's no accent in Indiana.
This might be very biased, but I really don't think we have an accent.
I don't hear it, but I get reminded of it when I travel.
I mean, I think this is normal.
It's a perfect neutral Pacific Northwest tone. Sarah Palin does not have a typical Alaska accent. She's not really from there. She grew up in, I don't know, Kansas or something.
My husband laughs at me because I say wolf instead of wolf.
Our accents are all over the place.
The first one that comes to my head is a Latino one. Me voy a coger un cortadito.
There's the St. Louis accent where we say certain things like quarters and water.
Where I'm from, they like to say Haina or Mayan. That shirt over there is Mayan. From Philly, they like to say wooder and yous guys. But in Pittsburgh, instead of yous guys, they say yins. What are yins doing?
North Carolina it's an interesting accent. It's just got a little bit of a drawl.
It's a little lazier.
Just very slow pace, very good, very nice.
There's Charleston, South Carolina, which is more like this. It's more smooth. It might have a daughter named Darcy.
And then you got the real squealy southern accent. And then you just got the very just, hey, how you doing? God bless. You have a good day now.
The next one is, if you want to start, yeah, there you go, is Australian. And I'm only doing 3 dialects from there. There are actually 7, I believe, but I'm only going to do 3 because we don't have time for more than that. So we're going to do 3 dialects from Australia. And I'm sure you're more aware of Australian accents than I was before I went there. I just thought everyone spoke Australian, right? I was like, they just speak Australian? No. There are dialects. And once I heard them on this video, I realized there are actually dialects in Australia. Okay, do you think we can play it? I got it. If possible, can you fast forward it up to 40 seconds and start it from the 40-second mark?
G'day guys, my name is Pete and I'm the host of Aussie English.
And I just went to Australia, and it was so cool. I was like, oh, say that again. Oh, please say that again.
My students have asked me to put this video together to show you guys the main kinds of Australian accent. As you may or may not be aware, there is quite a bit of variation in the Australian accent. Truth! Now we're not going to cover every single variant in today's video, I just want to cover the 3 main kinds. And they are the cultivated accent.
Hello, I'm Cultivated Pete and I speak Australian English with a cultivated accent.
The general accent.
G'day guys, I'm General Pete and I speak with a general Australian accent. How's it going?
And the broad accent.
Yeah, g'day guys, I'm Broad Pete and I speak Australian English with a broad Australian accent.
Alright, so according to Wikipedia, the cultivated Australian accent has in the past been perceived as indicating high social class or education. It has some similarities to received pronunciation and the transatlantic accent. So some famous Australians who speak with a cultivated accent include actors Kate Blanchett and Geoffrey Rush, as well as ex-Prime Minister Malcolm Fraser. Let's have a listen.
Yes, when I actually grew up in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And then I came to Sydney to go to the National Institute here and then got catapulted out, and I thought, well, I'll give it 5 years and see what happens.
Johnny Depp's one of the great character actors of our time, I believe. Trapped in a leading man's body. He's got the best of both worlds. He has a brilliantly absurd sense of humour.
Most people aren't aware of it, but 1975 was, I think, the only year since the migration program began when more people left Australia.
Yeah, you blokes are just a bunch of posh cats.
Well, I'm never. How unsophisticated.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay out of this one.
Right, now the strongest Australian accent. According to Wikipedia, broad Australian English is recognisable and familiar to English speakers around the world. It is prevalent nationwide, but is especially common in rural areas. In Australia, this dialect is sometimes called Australian or Australian, a shortening of the word Australian, and a speaker of the dialect may be referred to as an ochre. Some examples of Australians who speak with a broad Australian accent include ex-Prime Minister Julia Gillard, the crocodile hunter Steve Irwin, and actor Paul Hogan. Let's have a listen.
And I do meet women around the world, and really the only thing they know about Australia is they might know something about kangaroos, something about koalas, and about that speech.
Do you miss the outback? Oh, absolutely. First thing, get off the plane, mate. Didn't go home. Boom, straight into the bush, threw me swag out, camped under the stars, and I was healed up. Thanks, Kate.
Wonderful and weird at the same time. I had the rare and exotic thing of being the flavour of the month or flavour of the year almost for about a year. Yeah. And it all, if you haven't sort of come out with another blockbuster, it's all over. You're forgotten.
Well, I do believe us posh cunts would refer to you broadies as ochre or bogan, depending on your social proclivities or whether or not you have a job.
Yeah, righto. Fuck off, mate. Yeah, I'm gonna avoid this one as well.
Last but not least, and the most common Australian accent that you are likely to hear is the general accent, okay? So according to Wikipedia, the general Australian English accent is the most common of Australian accents. It is especially prominent in urban Australia and is used as a standard language for Australian films, television programs, and advertising. So aside from the average Australian, some famous Aussies who speak with a general accent include actors Eric Bana and Hugh Jackman, as well as Olympic swimmer Ian Thorpe. Let's have a listen.
It was so much fun, and I'd sort of forgotten how much fun you can have and are allowed to have at work, you know, because a lot of the movies I work on are, you know, quite dramatic, and sometimes the sets are very, very serious. So to go to work where, you know, laughing your head off all day long was kind of encouraged and you didn't get into trouble was so novel.
2 musicals early on, which shocked me that I was even up for a musical. And I was an actor, theatre actor, really. And then I couldn't get seen for films back in Sydney. This is way back in mid-90s.
Look, I notice where the water moves. I notice, you know, how it's around me. And if, you know, someone's out with their kick, I hear that and I kind of feel it. And it does affect me a little bit.
I think we're pretty much just your average normal Australian, to be honest.
Also lower class riffraff.
Yeah, these guys are a
Okay, now, so we can do whatever you prefer. I have one more that does the Brits, and it's about 4 minutes long, where you hear all the British accents. Or we can just go on. Do you want to hear them, or you want to wait and just go on? You do want to hear them? Okay, because the point of my presentation today is that you hear the differences, right? So if you, there we go. So go all the way down to the one that says British on it, yeah. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going. That one. There we go. So there are 17 dialects in England. Do you want to hear them? Yes. You got to go. Thank you. I'm sorry. She might not know it, but I'm going to see her again in a little bit.
The UK is incredibly diverse in terms of accents, and it just so happens that I can do many of these accents as my party trick. So come with me as I take you on a guided tour through all of the accents and archetypes of Great Britain.
Hi, I'm Siobhan Thompson, and this is Anglophenia, and what I'm speaking right now is RP, received pronunciation, or your standard BBC English.
It's spoken across the country, generally by middle, and upper class people. Think of Martin Freeman, Benedict Cumberbatch, or, most of the presenters of BBC News. So, good evening, it's 9 o'clock and this is the news, I'm very important.
Heightened RP is generally only spoken on film and television now. So think of Nell Card or the Dowager Countess in Downton Abbey. Oh, Gerald, I do love you, but you're so terribly, terribly poor.
Now, London is the accent that most people outside of Britain can recognise. That classic lock, stock and two smoking barrels. Get out of my pub! Go on, get out of it!
Shut it, you tart!
East Anglia is a flat, boggy kind of place with a flat, boggy kind of accent.
I love to give you an example of somebody that comes from there that speaks like this, but they all lose this accent as soon as they can. Stephen Fry's from Norfolk, but he doesn't speak like this because he's posh. Here's a kind of classic kind of East Anglia phrase. I done dropped my computer in the fan and it's broken. Now let's go across the island to the West Country, which is a much rounder sound. It's farmland full of sheep and cows and apples. Think of like Sam Ganji from The Lord of the Rings or Hagrid from the Harry Potter movies. Oh, you bloody kids, get off my land! Or, oh, Mr. Frodo, don't let him turn me into anything unnatural. And then when you go down to Cornwall, it gets a little bit more piratey. So, hoist the mizzen mast, Squire Trelawney. Now, Southern Welsh is this great sing-songy kind of an accent. Think of Tom Jones or Richard Burton. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Bloody hell, I love Dylan Thomas. Northern Welsh is where the singer Duffy is from. It's a breathier, thicker kind of an accent, and most people from there speak Welsh at home, and English is a second language. So, diolch yn fawr. Now, across the country to the West Midlands and Birmingham, it's a very nasal kind of an accent, mostly on account of all the industry that went on in that area. Cat Daly, who presents So You Think You Can Dance, is from there, and so is Ozzy Osbourne, Sharon, where's the bloody remote? Yeah, that voice that he does isn't because of drugs, it's just where he's from. Scouse is your classic Liverpool accent. The Beatles are from there, and so's Paul McGann. They were also made European Capital of Culture a couple of years ago by the EU, so don't tell me that I've cultured all right. Up into Lancashire, and think of Christopher Eccleston or most of the cast of the Downstairs in Downton Abbey. Daisy, get those buns out the oven before they burn. Oh, Mr. Bates. So, across the Pennines to Yorkshire, it's a much kind of flatter accent from Lancashire, and they cut off a lot of the words. So I'm going to Pub Up Hill. Think of Sean Bean from Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. One does not simply walk into Mordor. So in Northumberland and Newcastle, he's speaking a Geordie accent. So, think of the Geordie Shore, or Carol Cole, remember she got fired from the X Factor because nobody could understand a word she was saying. Or Billy Elliot. All I want to do is dance bally, but me dad makes me box. Edinburgh's the capital of Scotland. It's a very soft, maybe a little snooty kind of an accent. Think of Ewan McGregor or Dame Maggie Smith as Professor McGonagall. That's 10 points taken from Gryffindor, Mr. Potter. Glasgow is a much thicker kind of an accent. Billy Connolly and Peter Capaldi are both from there. They cut off a lot of the words, so I haven't any butter, so I've got to go to the shop, And so up to the very north, to the Highlands of Scotland. Think of Amy Pond from Doctor Who, or maybe Sir Robert Burns. The best laid plans of mice and men, gang after glee. Now let's go to Northern Ireland, and it's all about the vowels with the Northern Irish accent, so how now, brown cow? Liam Neeson is from there. I've got a very particular set of skills. I know he doesn't say it in that accent in the movie, but it sounds well cool, so, And finally, Southern Ireland is obviously not a part of the United Kingdom, but I can do a Dublin accent, so let's just do it. It's a pretty classic Irish accent with a lot of assonance to it. So Sinead O'Connor's from there. Nothing compares to you. That is all from me. Tell me if there's any British accents that I missed, because I love a challenge. Don't forget to subscribe and...
I'm out of time, actually. So, do you want to give me 5 minutes to close this, or do you want me to stop? You sure? Okay. All right, yeah, there we are. Oh, okay. Yep, that's the next one. Okay, so why care about dialect? First of all, my question to you is, do you know English well enough that you could hear the differences in the sounds? Okay, so in the US, sounded different from the UK, or British, which sounded different from Australian? Yes, did you have a question? Gotcha. Okay, so why should we care about dialect? Well, that's important, because I will tell you that people will judge you based on your dialect. So which English you use to learn, which English you learn, right, is important. It may not sound like it, because I speak English, and there are a lot of people that speak English, but that doesn't mean their dialect is the one that you need to learn. I'm going to tell you which dialects are best. That does not mean you have to learn them. I'm just letting you know from each of these regions which one is the best one and the one that you should be practicing if you want to be neutral and not sound like you're from a specific place. So let's go to the next one, because as I said, I've already said you're going to be judged. Okay, recommendations for dialects. If you're looking for people, it's the Midwestern U.S. dialect. You want to know that one. That's the one when you heard the people in the U.S. talking very plainly, and they kept saying, I can't do it, because I have a Southern accent. But they say, I don't have an accent. You know how they say, I don't have an accent? Those are the people you want to speak like. If you're looking at a U.S. accent, because it's not an accent, it's a very plain sound. So that's the Northwestern dialect. Australian, I would say either or, but if you really want to sound posh, like the little guy on the video said, you need to speak with the cultivated dialect. The cultivated dialect is up here, poshy, like richy rich, and then the general is like the general population. That's what everyone there speaks. But if you want to sound smart, you want to sound educated, and you want to sound like you got money in Australia, you need to learn the cultivated accent. In Britain, all across Britain, pretty much, there's some differences with this, but if you are trying to speak the British English that's the most respected, the most highly regarded, most well-respected, the one that everyone learns when they leave their part of England, right? You want to speak the received pronunciation. Okay, so go to the next one, if you don't mind. Okay, I have 1 minute. I don't really have 1 minute, but I'm going to tell you a quick story, so we can end this on a somewhat negative but then positive note. So I'm going to start with negative and end on a positive, because I think you need to leave here with some good, woo, we're going to do this. Okay, when I was in college, I did not know I had an accent. Can you believe that? I actually didn't know I had an accent until I went to college, because I'd never been around anyone who wasn't from the South. It's from the South, right? North Carolina, that's where I'm from. We sound like this. Some sound worse than me. So anyway, I go to college, in my college classes, and I had a professor for, a biology professor, and I was doing something in his office one day. I was studying for a test and walking around in the lab, and he looks at me and he says, hey, come here for a second. And I go, what? He goes, you will never make it. You will be nobody. You will never be anyone. And I was like, what? I mean, keep in mind, this is my first time in college. And a man that I respect as a professor says to me, you need to get out of here, you will never make it. And I'm like, he goes, you sound too Southern, and Southern people are stupid. You sound stupid. and you will never make it. Well, thank God I didn't listen to him. Look at me now. He's dead. I'm just saying. And then later on, when I went to work on my master's and my PhD, I ran into a professor who was the same way. He said, you will never make it because you speak Southern English. I was like, okay. Then I graduated from college with my PhD and went for a job interview. And because I said teaching, which is what we say in the South, teaching, you hear the ing's not there, teaching is correct, teaching is the slang, right? And after the interview, I didn't get the job. This was at a university. I didn't get the job. You know what they said to me? We can't hire someone who doesn't speak better than our students. I'm not kidding, that's the truth. Because they wanted someone who was teaching the students in the university and saying teaching and not teaching. And I was like, yeah, but I sound like your students. And they go, yeah, and that's why we don't want you. We want someone who doesn't sound like our students so we can move them up instead of down or sideways. So, to end all of that, on a good note, that went on my whole life basically. And now, I look back on that and I think, I didn't change my voice for them. I didn't. I did it. I stayed where I was. They said I needed voice lessons. I talked to my parents, and my parents were like, you are fine just the way you are, except much more Southern than I just said it. And so I never did it. I never went for voice lessons. But for you, since you are learning English, you're already going to be at a disadvantage because you have that accent, right? You have your traditional, original accent even when you speak English. So my suggestion is try to find the best English that you can learn. And then if you have an accent, who cares? But at least you're trying to find that one that's the best. So that's my suggestion, and that's how I'm going to end it today. And I wish you all the luck in the world. Contact me if you need me.
Okay, please give a round of applause one more time. Okay, so let's just jump on to the Q&A section. If you guys have any questions, please raise your hand. Oh God, there's a lot. Okay, I will start from the front row, right? Please. Yes. Okay.
Hello. Okay. Hi, Ms. Patrick. I'm Sarah. I'm not actually an Indonesian student because I am the first and only international student here. I'm from Malaysia, and yeah, I think you can hear that I have a British accent. Okay, so me being here is part of, I guess you could say, the internationalization of Unib, right? So what I've observed is, at my faculty, I'm from the medical faculty, so like in medicine, maybe like 40% of the materials that they give us, like PowerPoint slides and things, are in English. But I would see that like almost everyone would just use an app to translate it rather than learning it in English. So what idea do you have like to propose to inspire people to have more willingness to actually learn in English rather than just translating everything? Because I think that like eventually the goal would be that the teaching and the assessment at least partially would be done in English, right, if it's going to be an international university. So like what do you propose to increase the willingness of students to learn English?
First, I have to admit that I'm very guilty of that myself. Because when I'm speaking with someone, especially at the house, I'm in a hurry and I just want to hurry up and tell you something. So I'm not trying to learn Bahasa, you know, I'm just like, here, Google Translate, do this. Okay, it's hard because Google Translate has made it easy, right? But here's the bad thing about Google Translate. It doesn't translate things the correct way all the time. So sometimes I'll hand someone something and they go, you want what? You want to eat what? You want snakes? What? So when you say that they're doing this in medicine, that concerns me, because if I'm cut open somewhere, I don't want my surgeon to have to go, hang on just a minute, let me get my phone, hang on. Google Translate says, you know what I mean? I mean, for medicine at least. So how can we fix that? I know you usually have your phones with you all the time, but I can tell you that this right here is not a conversation. This is a one-way street. Do you know what I mean by that? So when I'm looking at this and I'm trying to say stuff into it, it makes the person I'm trying to talk to feel not included in the conversation. How many times have you done that with someone, friends, where you were trying to use Google Translate so hard that you didn't even know what they were talking about? You're like, what? We have got to stop doing it. I'm guilty of it, and I need to stop. Stop using Google Translate. It will not save your life because it takes too long. I mean, I don't think there's an answer, but what we have to do is make our own decisions about stop Google Translates. Be part of the conversation, and this is not part of the conversation.
I think that answers the question. Okay. Thank you so much for the answer. Do you got the answer? All right. Let's move to the next person. Okay, you may proceed. We will open up for... Yeah.
Hello everyone, I'm Nurul from Faculty of Law. So, I had several problems that I got when I practiced in English. And I like to say that I rather understand the material of my studying by myself or less people. And the method like group discuss in my class cannot suit me very well. Yeah, and the second problem is when I'm practicing my English skill in my room, I used to talk with myself in front of the mirror, but right after the day when I was used to show it to everyone, or even in my class, I instantly sometimes got nothing to say. I realized that the only problem that I got is about confidence. So I want to know that, what do you think about how I can do more, or what can we do, even you guys feel the same way, to improve our confidence in talking to English? Thank you.
I can relate this to when I learned to speak Spanish, because when I learned to speak Spanish, I was embarrassed all the time, right? I never knew what to say. I was afraid the words were wrong, and I'm still doing it in Bahasa too, but my Bahasa is not nearly as good as my Spanish. I think we're all how we are, right? Some people just are more outgoing than others. I can see that some of you in here are way more outgoing than others of you. I'm very much, I might not seem like it, but do you know what an introvert is? Do you know that term? I am an introvert. I do not like doing this. I like sitting in my house and not talking to anyone ever again, like a hermit. I would be so happy. So what I've had to do is force myself, especially when I was speaking Spanish, to people who spoke it fluently, and I was messing up all the time, and I felt silly and stupid. And then I thought, okay, well, I can feel silly and stupid and never learn Spanish, or I can just be silly and stupid and learn Spanish. So I think it's up to you to make that decision. There's no magic word. I wish I had a magic word, a magic key, a magic spell with a magic wand that I could put over all of your heads so that you would immediately know how to speak English. But we all know that's not how it works. And so you, on the inside, have to say, this is what I'm going to do, and I don't care if I look silly, and I don't care if I look stupid, and I don't care if you don't like it. But you got to do that on the inside. No one can do that for you. That's the hard part. That's, you know, an internal thing. So I have to overcome my shyness, my introvertedness. To come here today took me like all of yesterday to get my poo together. I kept going, you can do this. And then I got contacted and they were like, okay, we need your presentation now. And I was going, it's not ready yet because I don't think I can do it. Like in my mind, I was going, I don't know if I can do it, right? So I sat there for all day. I'm not joking. I'm not making this up. I started yesterday morning at 8 o'clock working on this presentation, and I did not finish it until I sent it late yesterday afternoon because I kept thinking, what if it's not good enough? What if they don't like it? What if it's terrible? What if I stand up there and I look like a fool? What if they're all sleeping? What if they're all looking at their phones? But I had to make myself do it, even though I was scared and nervous. So it's not an answer I can give you. Do you know what I mean by that? It's a personal thing for that. Being able to make yourself do it.
Good enough?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, just be brave, be confident. Okay, we still have time. Okay, next question. Someone from the, yes, the back one, yes. Kak Anita. Yeah. Don't worry, guys. You still have four slots.
Okay. First of all, thank you, Dr. Patricia, for the presentation. It's so great, and I really like that. So I've got some problem actually as my journey in practicing my English, and I wish you can help me with that. The first, all this time I really like to practice my speaking. Like I really want to have the accent and everything. And the problem that I got is that first, when I feel I made mistake, people just say like, okay, you did a great job. And I was just like, no, I made mistake. And I feel like stuck by that, by people keep saying, you did a great job, you did a great job. But I feel like, no, I'm stuck and I need to make a progress. And how is your suggestion for that problem? And the other one is that, is there any suggestion, any other suggestion you can give for us to learn the accent? Because I want to get the accent, but every time I talk with people in Lingbe, and they will just say like, oh, I like your Indonesian accent. And I was just like, no, I need another accent. But yeah, do you have any suggestion for that? So that is my question. Thank you.
Okay, so the first one was, how do you, when someone says, oh, that's so good, and then you're like, no, I know it's not, right? That's the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one, well, I'm guilty of this too. So anytime I meet Indonesians and they're even trying at all, I mean, if they even say like 3 words in English, I'm going, that's so good. Because I'm trying to be encouraging, not being judgmental. I'm really, truly trying to encourage them if that's what they want. Now, if they don't want to speak English, that's okay too. But if they try to speak English to me in any way, shape, or form, even when they get it wrong and they're saying the wrong words, I'm just like, you're so good at English. Because I feel, I'm a teacher too, that's part of it. But I feel like if I say to someone, what? I don't understand what you're saying. Could you just please, I really don't understand. Or I tell them how bad it is, are they going to be encouraged to keep going? No. So why would I say something besides, you're doing a great job, that's really good? Even though and they'll say to me, same as you, they'll go, no, it wasn't good. And I know, they'll say, I know it's not good. And I'll go, but that doesn't matter. You're trying. It's good to me. And I will always add this every time I say it, I go, your English is better than my Bahasa. So they're not saying it to make you feel bad and not to recognize that you're saying things the wrong way. The reason they're saying, oh, that's really good, is because they're trying to encourage you, not to say your stuff is good because it's good. They're saying you're good because they want you to keep working at it, right? If they said something like, do you know that the last 25 words you said, only 2 of them were right? Would you want to continue? No. So when someone says to you, oh my God, that is so good, they're trying to be encouraging. They're not making fun of you. That's the first one. Is that good? You good with that? Is that good?
Well, maybe is there like any way where you can find your fault?
You find your...
My fault, like, oh, I'm wrong. I feel wrong in that, but I don't know where's my fault.
Right. I think what you have to do is when you're with someone, like when I'm with I'm going to say normal people, but that's not really what I mean. Like if I'm just out doing normal things around town and someone's trying to speak English, they're just doing it because they're trying to be nice. And so I'm saying, oh, that's so good, right? But if you were coming to me and you would say, I want you to help me with my English, then I would say, okay, you just spoke 25 words and only 2 of them are right. That's different. When you ask for someone to help you, that's different than you speak to someone and they say, that's really good. What you should say is, I want to have a conversation with you in English, and can you please let me know when I don't say the correct word because I'm trying to learn. You need to acknowledge that in front of people because they don't know you're trying to learn. So every time I would speak to someone in Spanish, I would say, okay, I know I'm going to get this wrong, but I really want to practice, so just tell me when it's not right, or please bear with me, or whatever. You got to let them know it's okay to say it's not good. Don't be afraid. Okay, then the second one was, how do you, the one about the accent. So tell me that one. You said it's because everyone goes, oh, I love your accent, right? So everyone says that to me too when I say I'm going to change my accent and I'm going to learn like a better accent from the U.S. They're always like, oh, don't do that. We love your accent. It's so soft and sweet and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not a good one. So I think you choose the one you want and then you go with that. Like you find the accent that you want and go with it. Or what you can do is try all of them. Like you just go, okay, well, I'm just going to try all of them. And then your accent will be all mixed up. And also, I think you also have to decide, like I did. I decided I wanted to keep my accent. If it's important to you to keep your accent so that you sound like you're from Indonesia, you should do that. Remember your path? You choose your path, you walk it, and people will join you. Choose your path. You're not worried about someone else's path. So if your path is, I'm going to speak English to the best of my ability, I don't really care if it's the best English or not, I'm just walking my path. And this is the English I'm going with, and I'm not going to lose my accent because I am damn proud of my Indonesian accent. And that's what you need to do.
Is that good enough?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We will open up for 2 more. Another question. Okay, the...
Mr. Exercise.
Yeah, Mr. Exercise. For the mic.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. And
Good morning.
Patricia. Selamat pagi. So first, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Nino Alfarzinadi. I'm my major from English education. So earlier we know about British English. So my question is, I'm not good enough in British English very well, but in major, I learn British English. I know the difference about English Americans. So can you give me a suggestion? So can I understand English British very well? So that are for my questions. Suggestion from I want to know about understanding British English well, because I'm not good enough for British English, and I know the difference, but I'm not enough in British English. Thank you.
Is it because you can't hear the British
No,
English?
I'm learning here British, but sometimes I don't understand what British English say to me. Like sounds different for me.
Yeah, the words are sometimes
A difference. Yeah.
strong.
I know the difference, but sometimes like not come to my mind, exactly like that.
I don't know, I actually think your English is nice.
Yes, thank you.
It doesn't have a lot of accent in it, I don't think. It sounds, you know, mild. It doesn't have a lot of accent.
Yes.
So, if you really want to speak British English,
Yes.
You're going to have to find someone who really speaks it well. And you, I mean, they're out there. You have to find the right person, but you have to find the right person, and then you have to practice it with them. Do you know what I mean by that? If you really want to have that accent, you need to find someone that you practice it with. Do you do that?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it because you sometimes can't understand the words that they're saying? Is that why?
Yes. Earlier, my lecturer gave me example of sounds of British English, and I don't understand all of the conversations because the sound is so much different from my learning.
Okay, so you're not the only one. I speak English, and I still don't know what they're saying.
Oh.
Like, sometimes I go, what? And I have friends in England, and in Scotland, and in Ireland, and as you heard, they're all different. And sometimes they speak too fast, or they say words I don't know, or I'm like, what did you just say? Because I can't hear it. And I will tell you, I think that the way we hear things has a lot to do with if we're able to say them or not, because I have really struggled to learn how to speak Bahasa, but it's because I can't hear it. All your words just sound like one long word. I can't hear the individual words, so I struggle. So I feel you, but you're going to have to find someone who's willing to work with you one-on-one and just say, okay, this is the word I said, and this is what it means. Because I agree, British English is, it's hard. I understand Australians better than I do the Brits sometimes.
Okay, very much. Thank you very much for the answer, Mrs. Patricia.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Yes. I think, yeah, you just need to practice more and more to get used to it. Yeah, it's hard.
Yes.
Yeah, you have the listening skill. Go ahead and watch Adele's live.
Yes.
You know it.
Yes.
Yeah. You go watch it and you'll get confused, but you'll get better. All right, one last question. Yeah, from the sorry, just one last question. Go ahead. The orange. Orange hijabi girl. Hurry up. Okay, one last question.
By the way, I really appreciate you being so patient and sitting here and listening to my presentation. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I spent all day yesterday stressed about it. Like, didn't sleep last night. And I'm like that every time I have to present in public.
You okay now?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I just have to psych myself up for it.
Okay. All right. The question.
Okay, thank you. Is my voice clear?
Yeah. Put the mic a little bit up.
Okay.
Just speak it up.
Okay, hello, my name is Siti Nur Alvina. I'm from Agriculture, Faculty of, Agribusiness, Faculty of Agriculture. So, as you know, my first language is not English. And my question, I'm a little bit curious about which more important from learn English, writing or reading first? Because whenever I start to learn language, new language, I start to take a reading step first. So the reading is the last step I take. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this question are also in line with the previous one. Which one is gonna be prioritized, grammar or speaking? Yeah.
So I think your question, let me just rephrase it back to you. Is your question which one's more important, reading or writing? Is that the question? Being able to read or being able to write, is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay. It depends on your priorities. So for example, if you want to go to college further, right, master's, PhD, and you want to go to another country, you have to be able to write in English if you want to go further. If you just want to stop where you are now and you don't care about going any further, then I would say Only speaking it and reading it is enough. That's enough. All you need to be able to do is look at something and go, yep, on Instagram and go, well, yep, Dr. Patrick's doing something with her dog again, right? Or you need to be able to look at Facebook and go, oh yeah, Dr. Patrick's doing something with her dog again. By this way, his name is Cooper and he is freaking awesome. But anyway, so if that's all you want out of life is to be able to read it and speak it, right? That's enough. If you want to be able to tell someone something and you're not in the room, then you need to write it. That's the distinction. If you want to give your message to someone else, you have to learn to write. So for me, I prioritize them this way. Speaking, reading, writing. That's how I prioritize them. Because if you can speak it, then the reading will come and then the writing will come.
Okay, so, all right. Okay, so that will be all for our agenda today. Thank you so much, guys, for the questions. Also, I'd like to thank Madam Patricia for providing us such a great materials. I hope it's really useful for all of you, and you'll get more knowledge. You got more knowledge from that. The next agenda would be certificate given to Madam Patricia from our dearest Ma'am Wisma. Please take a picture. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am and Madam Patricia. All right. Now we come to the door prize for for those who already asked a question. I would like to call the name one by one. You guys will approach to the front, and you'll get the prize, and we'll get a picture together with Ma'am Wisma and Madam Patricia. So please, Alfian Mahendra from FISIP, Gita Nahaban from FMIPA, Pedro Chaniago from FKIP, Sarah, FKIP, go ahead. Quick. Sarah from FKIK, Nurul from FH, Nita Susanti from FEB, Muhammad Nino from FKIP, and Siti Nur Afina from FP. Okay, will be given by our dearest friends. Will be given by Kak Airin, our volunteer. Kak Airin. Okay. Take a picture. Foto. Oh. Ya, foto bersama dulu, nanti Ma'am Wisma sama Madam Patricia boleh join ke depan.
Satu, dua, tiga, lagi. Please make a happy face. Just winning a bronze something. 3, 2, 1. Last time, please. Say cheese. 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay.
Okay, untuk Ma'am Wisma and Madam Tricia, please.
Okay. Count. 3, 2, 1. Okay. One more time, please. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Do we have any like signs, like any kind of style of?
Yeah. Make a cute face. Make a cute face. Ma'am.
Make a love pose, like this one, like this one. Ma'am, please.
Oh, gini.
A pose, okay. You guys have a love pose, okay? In 3, 2, 1, I'm gonna take it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, for the closing statement, I'd like to do it in bahasa. Terima kasih banyak sekali lagi pada teman-teman yang sudah menyempatkan hadir pada kesempatan kita, pada acara kita pada hari ini. Saya harap semua yang telah disampaikan oleh para pemateri kita bisa bermanfaat ke depannya bagi teman-teman. Dan tenang saja, ini bukan event terakhir, bakal banyak event-event yang sama ataupun event yang berbeda, tapi tetap berkaitan dengan English. So if you guys have a high enthusiasm, have a high spirit for learning English, go ahead and join Unib English Club for the second batch. And oh yeah. Don't forget to follow UPT Bahasa Instagram. You'll get a lot of info from there. That will be all from me too, as a host. I'd like to apologize if I made a mistake, and to God I beg for forgiveness. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.